Good morning and welcome back to First Unitarian. We've got a lot of folks coming in, so if y'all will scoot and make room for them, it'd be really great. Yes, it feels so good to have a full house today, doesn't it? Welcome, welcome. Welcome also to our friends joining us online, including our folks from Ogden. UU Ogden, everybody say hi, Ogden. Welcome. We're always glad when you're with us. I have a few announcements as we get started. The first one is sort of an unannouncement. There was an announcement in this week's Torch about an event happening tonight featuring someone from the Coalition of Religious Communities. That's been canceled, so if you were planning on it, you've now got a free evening. Good for you. We'll do it again sometime, maybe. This month, our church, led by the staff team and our environmental ministry team, will be focusing on the Great Salt Lake, our grandmother to the north, who is in trouble and needs our help. There are several events this week and the next couple of weeks in which you can participate. If you're still learning about the issue, there's a forum happening on Zoom on Thursday. If you're ready to talk to your lawmakers about solutions, there are a couple of opportunities later this month to learn from our First Church folks how to do that. There's an event in person and an event on Zoom. And if you are ready to make some noise, then I want you to save the date. This coming Saturday, the 14th, there's going to be a big rally up at the state capitol, and we want everybody to be there. Ogden folks, drive down and join us. Come on. We're all going to meet up at the Capitol. The rally starts at 12 o'clock. It's family friendly, so bring your kids if they can tolerate noise and crowds. Bring snacks, bring banners and flags, bring warm clothes, because it'll be chilly for sure. And we would love to see everyone there. There's a flyer going around that has information. You can find out more on our website. If you check out the environmental ministry page on our website, you can learn all about those events. You'll get the times, the dates, the places, the Zoom links, all the things. And we would love for you to join us here on the, or talk to Joan. Yeah, she's got them too. We would love for you to join us here on the 29th for intergenerational worship, both 9 and 11 a.m. Please bring your families, your small people. We'll be speaking about the Great Salt Lake and our call as Unitarian Universalists to help protect her. And I'd like to welcome to the pulpit this morning's lay minister, Beck Miller. Thank you for bringing a message to us. And now we begin our worship with the lighting of the chalice. Today with these words by Deborah Burrell. Fire consumes and casts a bright light. May our chalice flame consume our regrets for the past, our fears about the future, and our worries about today. May it light for us a path of peace and joy. Our wonderful music director, David Owens, is going to lead us in our opening hymn, 1059 in your teal hymnal.
And so we're going to start the new year singing the song we don't know. But we'll learn it pretty fast. It looks more difficult than it is, but we're going to sing it through like maybe 3 times, everybody together, just in unison, trying to get the tune down, and then we'll break it up into rounds. The 9 o'clock service did a great job, so you have a high bar to meet. And they were a small group. So let's just go through it about 3 times, get the tune in your head, okay? 1059. I'll play it once, and then we'll start singing it. just split us into quarters, okay? So north of here is 1. East of here is 1. West is 2. You guys are 3. You guys are 4. Okay? You want to stand up? If you're willing and able. Remember the tune? All right. Here we go. 1. May your life be as a song. And may your life be as a song, resounding with the God you sing with the Lord, and song. May your life be as a song, ever make your life be as a song, and song is life you sing with the Lord, and song is the song of the You guys did it very good.
The year I turned 9 was bleak. My bio parents were getting a divorce, and there were some pretty dangerous and violent mental health issues in the home. Things were dark, messy, and terrifying for me, my older sister, and my younger sister. One of the greatest lights in the darkness, however, was a woman we were first introduced to as Miss Trish. Her actual name was Patricia Burtonshaw, and my mother met her through a mostly women-ran military charity called the Naval Relief Society. A Canadian by nationality, she and her family were living just outside an airbase in Collegeville, Pennsylvania, while her husband Sean was stationed there with the Canadian Forces. Our family was stationed less than an hour away at the now-defunct Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. She was caring for 3 children of her own, but for some reason, she saw the need in our lives and reached out. To this day, I will never know what possessed her because our family was an obvious fuel-soaked dumpster fire. It started with playdates, moved on to sleepovers, and finally she had us coming for summers and occasional Christmas breaks post-divorce. On top of everything, she took care of 1 to 3 bonus children for large chunks of summer, with sometimes more support from us than an American $50 bill pinned to the inside of one of our bags. As the years passed, my older and younger sisters found tribes of their own, but I continued my pilgrimages to the Great White North. And because of my unofficial adoption into the Burtonshaw clan, I have lived in or visited every single province in Canada, with the exception of Newfoundland and Labrador. It should be no surprise then, when in 2014, I finally started feeling brave enough to tell a select few members of my family that I would tell Mama Tish. One of the first people to step up and say to me, "We accept and love you as you are, and we will support you as you make decisions about what you want and need." More importantly, even when my bio family was actively disinheriting me, She came to stay with me during gender-affirming surgeries, mostly on her own dime, as I was not insured for the bulk of the procedures. Thank you, LDS Church Employment Insurance. You suck. And every penny I had in the world was going to pay for my gender confirmations. When I had top surgery, she made sure that my medical notes were being taken, my post-surgical drains were cleaned, my meds were on time. She walked my dog 2 or 3 times a day, and she cooked every meal for me for mostly a month. And when I had lower surgery, she stayed with me all night in the hospital, sleeping in a crappy, uncomfortable chair and enduring cafeteria food and the world's finest garbage coffee, while the doctors assessed when I would be able to go home. And then she took care of me again and my dog for another month. For this reason, when I changed my legal name in 2016, I included her name as one of my middle names, her last name as one of my middle names, because my love for her as a mother figure was and is one of the strongest familial connections I have in this world. She was the person who saw a very real need and over the course of 30 years answered that call time and time again. Her love and connection filled and continue to fill my life with hope. It is her example that compels me to answer the call when I find others in need, when injustice is being exacted, when someone asks for help, or when another member of the LGBTQ community says they're in crisis. I try to be available with resources, support, or just a listening ear. Is this easy? Almost never. I am, like most humans, incredibly self-focused. And meeting a call for hope is both against my selfish nature and outside of my normal comfort zone. Individuals I can stand, but I think we can all agree, on the whole, people are the worst. Nevertheless, I am grateful I have had a powerful example in my life of radical hope, love, and acceptance. It's changed me for the better. It helps my cautious optimism. It fills me with meaning and strength. I'm so grateful for my Mama Tish, and I'm so grateful for the hope she's instilled in me.
The odometer rolled over on a new year over a week ago, and many of us are now moving from that dream time into the everyday. Whatever wishes we made for the new year, whatever resolutions we resolved, whatever new habits we hope to form, now we live into those choices, or we abandon them, or we adjust our expectations. But to make a resolution means that we've resolved something for our lives. Like back in the old days when your TV picture wasn't clear, you adjusted the knob, you tuned the dial so you could get a clear picture. To resolve the picture of your life means that going forward, things will be different. For a resolution to succeed, really, we have to resolve ourselves into new people who do different things than the people we used to be. Our society needs resolution. Our communities need resolution. We need to resolve violence into peace, not by reducing or avoiding violence, but by embracing compassion and justice. We need to resolve exclusion by preferring difference, by choosing it, even when it feels uncomfortable. We need to resolve poverty into abundance, not just by sharing, but by recognizing that our wealthy society already has all the money it needs to eliminate poverty. We already know. We know what needs to change. What we don't always recognize is that for things to change, we have to change. We have to become something new, often something we don't recognize, sometimes something that scares us. What will we be? What will I be without this wealth, this safety, this comfort, this sameness? Resolution is deeply disorienting. To resolve is to look in the mirror and not recognize the person we see, to look together into a social mirror and not recognize the society we see. And it's okay to be uncertain about that process as long as you can also feel the refreshing wind behind you, blowing out the dust, breathing in the sunshine. As long as you can feel the warmth and energy streaming in the windows. You may not recognize the face in the mirror, but it's a lovely face, a smiling face, a hopeful face. It's the face of someone who is headed the way you want to go. So as you head to work tomorrow or to school or wherever life is taking you, I pray that your resolve may be stronger than the safety and comfort of remaining where you have been. That the enlargement of your vision may contribute to the enlargement of the world around you. That you find your resolve strengthened and your vision clear.
The beauty of having two services is that I get to hear things twice, and I also was listening to Monica's, and I was like, wait, did she say that in the first one? Because that's really good. And I'm sure she did. And you sort of catch different things. Anyways, you should come twice. Now, over this year, we've been showcasing people up here to do this, what is essentially the pitch into the offertory. But we call it why I'm a steward, or how I've been a steward. And so people have gotten up and they've told a short story about why this place is so important to them, that they have decided to financially support it and give their time and attention. And if this is something that you would like to do, I would like to help you do it. So come talk to me in coffee hour afterwards. We're about to begin, what's called the pledge season. We are different than many other churches, which is it is entirely run by you. You are the people who make the decision about what kind of church you want to have. You're a democratically elected congregation. We are an association, right? We're not a denomination technically, because each one of us is independent and we agree to associate with one another. And part of this is just based out of our sort of like feisty, it's just who we are, right? We attract feisty people. But it's also really wonderful, right? Because we're talking about making the choices over what's important for us as human beings. And it also is how this place is meaningful and has changed your life. Like, why come? Exactly. I'll put that person up here. Now, in this fall, we've done the board and we've done some other leaders, but I would really love to put up some people who are, congregants, just people who are just coming on Sunday and would love to talk about why you come, why you make coffee, why you sit on the committee. Like, come share with your people why they are important to you, right? Because, we were sort of talking about this in the first service, it's a little bit weird because this isn't actually how the congregation is built. It's not built with everybody sitting looking forward, right? That's only this part of it. And even here it's a little weird. Really, and it's not even a circle. Sometimes they do these graphs, it's a circle. It's not a circle. It is this sort of chaotic mess of entanglements, right? That is really what brings us together and holds us, and we fight and fall in love and do all these things, but we are this nested set of connections that helps us navigate this crazy world together. And I would love to have some of you come up and share that story from here about the crazy nest of connections, right? About why you're here, why you're a steward, why this place is important to you. So that's the pitch for today. The ushers will come forward with the plates. If you want to give online, you can use the back of the Doxology card and give there. And just know that, this is your place. And I think that is possibly one of the greatest things we could ever do with our time. Thank you.
Amen.
How's my stool doing? Something's wrong here, right? What am I doing? I don't even know what's going on in my life here. Okay, now I can do it. This is a tough job. I'll tell you. I was joking earlier. I'm like, I woke up humbled this morning because this suit, Lord, these holidays. So we're just going to get loose a little, right? No judgment. There's no judgment zone. For the last month and a half, I've been rewriting my ministerial record for the search process. You can think of it like a personal statement on my understanding of ministry. And this last Monday, a week ago tomorrow, all of the churches that are in search, including this one, received these personal statements from the ministers who are interested in applying. So a week ago, Monday, your search committee learned exactly who's interested in being your next minister. And on one level, it's certainly better to have more applicants than not. But my personal statement was 29 pages long. So, if you get 10 applicants, your poor search committee is essentially reading like a very complicated, disjointed book over the next couple of weeks in their effort to move the process along and stay on pace. So pray for them. I don't care if you're an atheist. Pray for these people. Now, personally, writing that much is, it's a chore. It's about 14,000 words. There you go. I love it. But the struggle for me, anyway, really was about how honest I should be in the statement. I've been living with a concern that if I actually share what's in my heart, if I share what I truly believe about the future of ministry, I won't get a job. That's the fear. I live with some fear. You guys are all good. But sometimes I get afraid of things. And the fear is not that I will come across as too self-righteous or too sanctimonious, those are some of my loves, but that's not my fear this time. My fear actually is that I will come across as too ambitious. And that I'm worried that many churches don't actually want to be ambitious and they'll be turned off by what I've written. Right? This is an anxious time. And your search committee, they want to choose something that's acceptable to you. Right? And we're, not just it's anxious all the time, but we're also in anxious times. You might have seen some stuff in the news this week. And additionally, I've struggled because, sometimes the writing has felt too personally motivated, too much about me and about what I think, which might sound a little funny because if there is a place one might talk about themselves, it would be when they've been asked to write a personal statement, right? Why they want to serve as a minister. But in so many ways, that's actually the rub. The reason I want to work as a minister has very little to do with what I think. I understand why it makes sense to outline the future of the faith from a technical point of view. Right? These are the structures we need. These are the committees we need. This is the type of culture we'll want to have. And all that sounds attractive. Right? We all want an instruction manual for our lives. And in this case, an instruction manual that outlines a blueprint for how to lead a spiritual community into the future. So often, we want technical answers to things because it seems like it's the lack of knowledge that's going to keep us from achieving something. But technical knowledge actually doesn't do that. In fact, it's probably the least important aspect of building a community or taking on a new challenge in life. What matters most is faith. But I'm serious. Without faith, no matter how much technical knowledge a person has, any project they take on is doomed to failure. If you do not have faith in your business will not be here in a year. If you don't have faith that you're going to finish that degree, you will not finish it. If you don't have faith in yourself, none of those changes that you want to see in your life are going to happen. If you don't have faith in the mission of your spiritual community, then it really is something other than a spiritual community, because that's the purpose of the spiritual community, right? The development of your faith. Now, there are other things that happen in these communities, but if faith isn't the central vision, then the community really is something else. And this is precisely why it's been so difficult for me to write about it. And it's not exactly that it's difficult for me to write about having faith or that I've made my life available to help you work on your faith. What's difficult for me is to say, it seems anyway, that the future relies on us developing our faith. And you'd think that would be easy for a minister to say, or at least a lot easier than it's been. But I've been struggling because I'm not entirely sure that Unitarian Universalist congregations want to believe that the future of Unitarian Universalism lies in being a transformative spiritual community. But I also want a job. So it became this balance of tailoring my writing between what is in my heart and what I think search committees want to hear. And this is not about being relevant as a denomination or an institution, and I don't mean to be flip when I say this, truly. But honestly, I don't care about institutional legacy. Institutions come and go, they always do. I care about the purpose of that institution while we're here on earth, the mission, if you will, while we're breathing, while we're loving, while we're grieving. That's what's important to me, not the legacy. I want to know that my life matters. And I want to know that what we do together as a community helps you know that your life matters. So the future of Unitarian Universalism, to me, is all about making sure that we are making lives matter. It's about transforming them through spiritual insight and practice to become the beings that we are intended to be. It's about feeding the hungry and holding the lonely and visiting those in prison. It is about nurturing a loving and caring relationship with the planet and its animals. It is about the transcendent spiritual experience that opens us to the understanding that our existence is not limited to the confines of our epidermis. It is about awakening to our cosmic nature, as well as our incredibly intimate and empathetic immediate reality as we look into the eyes of the being sitting next to us. Now, all of that is lovely stuff. It's lovely stuff to say. And this is more or less what I did say in my personal statement. I went with my heart versus what I think they want to hear. Wish me luck. But even here, right, all of this is still theoretical and intellectual. It is an idea. That is, I am talking about the spiritual experience rather than experiencing the Spirit. And those are two distinct things. And the future of Unitarian Universalism, the future of humanity, actually lies not in talking about it, but in experiencing it. And I say something as dramatic as the future of humanity because I believe this is the mission. It's not about the preservation of any particular institution. It is about the preservation of life. And if Unitarian Universalism wants to get on board with the preservation of life, then it will also experience preservation in some form because it will be meaningful to people who need it. If it wants to think only about getting people in the door, then it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter because we're facing some pretty intense environmental pressures, which are compounded and driven by issues like social inequality, consumerism, capitalism, militarism, spiritual exile. Now, believing in the mission of a spiritual community, believing in the possibility of a transcendent spiritual encounter can be challenging. I mean, it's hard to measure. You know when your business is doing well because you can count the clients or you can look at the bank balance. And you know when the commitment you've made to changing your life is being kept because you can see the evidence. You either are or are not going to the gym every day. I am not, but I will be. Savings are either growing in your retirement account or they're not. There's tangible metrics to measure. So how do you know when you are living the mission of a spiritual community? Because the effects and the impact of the spiritual life are often pretty impermanent. They're ineffable. They're emotional. And there's no easy barometer. So people judge a community by the number of people it's bringing in or the amount of money that's pledged to financially support the community. And that would be fine if bringing in people or raising money were the mission. But if that's the mission, then this community is very different than the one we need to survive. None of that's to say that the type of community we need to survive needs to be small or underfunded. You will be getting your pledge card. And truly, I sort of say that as a joke, but it's the opposite, right? I'm just saying that size and dollars are easy metrics to use for measuring the mission, and they're also the wrong ones. So what would be the right ones? I think a better measure would be if everyone in this room woke up each morning inspired by the support and messaging of this community and took a moment to praise. Whatever. I don't care what it is. Just a moment to praise. I think that we would be successful in our efforts as a community seeking the spiritual experience if, as a body of people, we started out our day by looking out into our world and embracing the awe of it. The wonder, the mystery, the beauty, the grief, the gift of our lives. And that we did so in some intentional way that bonded us together. Now, I like the word praise better than thanks because I want to celebrate. Life, this life, your life, is not alms for the poor. We are not on our knees begging from some benefactor. You are not a sinful being, right? I mean, some of you. But not inherently so, like in that fun way maybe, right? You're a blessing. You're a blessing. We live in the slipstream of creation. We are the eyes and the ears for this particular corner of God, and it's magnificent. It's holy. It is sacred with no particular intention of being holy and sacred. It just is. That's creation. And I want to praise it. I want to be in awe of it. And I'm suggesting praise for a couple of reasons. First, I believe that praise really brings us into the experience of gratitude for all that's been given to us. We did not make the sun or the soil or the water. We did not ask our parents to be born. We did not ask for so many things, too many things to even make a chart, right? That make it possible for us to be here in this moment. There's actually no way. We are so indebted to the magnificence of the gift. You can't even make a tally of what it is. So don't worry about paying off the debt. Just praise how amazing it is. Gratitude. It's so amazing, but more often than not, we walk through life taking it for granted. Sometimes we even act self-righteously and we act out of entitlement, thinking that we are owed something by this planet. We are not owed anything. We're not owed anything. It's a gift. But we've taken this gift for granted so often that now we think we're owed. And I think one of the best things that a church can do is help reset our expectations and recognize this amazing gift that we've been given and help us learn not to shrink before it, but just to praise it. A song of alleluia, a song of praise brings us into a relationship with something that is so much larger than ourselves. And it's not a diminishing act. It's an enlivening one. Because you feel the connection, how deeply connected you are to this life that has been given. The second reason I believe in praise has to do with the fact that if we want to survive as a species, we need to repair the spiritual disconnection that exists between us and the planet. This isn't an intellectual disconnection. We already know that we are out of alignment with the planet. We have all the facts. We have had all of the facts for a long time. We just are choosing to make bad choices. We are ignoring the fact. We are choosing to ignore our intellect because we are spiritually misaligned. We pray at the altars of greed, in concepts of superiority, ideas of separation and coveting. It's a spiritual misalignment. And if we want to experience the true relationship with the planet, that we are the planet, then the first step in this awakening is praise. And this may feel a little phony at first because, for many of us, praise and spiritual gratitude, it feels a little phony or foreign, But slowly we build the habit until it becomes something that's actually really powerful, and it sets before us a grand vision. I believe the mission of a church should be predicated on spiritual ambition. Now, sometimes ambition gets a bad rap because it is associated with people who do unscrupulous things to get ahead of others, or take more than their share of things. And they say that they're ambitious as a way to justify their selfishness. But that's not the type of ambition I'm talking about. I believe the mission of a church should be designed to encourage you to think about where you want to go with your spiritual life, to set goals, to set a plan, to envision the future. Also, not just of yourself, but of this community. How do we heal homelessness? Not solve it. Not writing a blueprint for how do we heal that? It's a spiritual problem. And then together we start walking towards that spiritual experience, not to talk about it, but to encounter it. And there has to be some level of discernment if you want to hear who you've been called to be with this life, or how you want to interact with creation or God. Our mission is to be that place for people in the world, the place where you can come and be transformed so that the relationship between humanity and the planet becomes holy again. Ambition that this is the place that transforms. Maybe that sounds daunting. Maybe even our ego is like, I don't know if I want that. Because the ego is worried, right? It doesn't know what will happen if we transform as beings. It is a suicide mission if we don't. So we need to find a way to assuage the fears of our ego and push onward. Because there is a life that's waiting for us. There is a life that is waiting for all of humanity. And we're not the only community talking about this. It's not our job to change the planet. It is just our job to transform us. And even that can feel daunting. So let's not worry about the transformed life. Let's just begin with praise. Because that's where we're going to end up anyway. The poet Adam Zagievsky implored us, try to praise the mutilated world. And so we do, right? With everything that seems so hard and so wretched, we begin with praise so that we might find ourselves in awe of this slipstream of creation. Awe and praise will be our guide to the new world and the new life that awaits us. I know why it's been so hard to write my personal statement, and it's because I'm afraid of what this sounds like. I'm afraid it might not be true. I'm afraid that it will come off as hokey or naive. I'm afraid that, I'm afraid of what other people will think of me as a person who wants faith. But I know that this is just my ego trying to get me to put down this crazy adventure of the Spirit, right? Perhaps the greatest adventure of my life. Faith is not easy. It's so much easier not to have faith. Maybe even more desirable. At least then I'd have some justification for why we are who we are, or we behave the way we behave. But I do not believe that is who we are called to be. I believe that we are called to another relationship, a sacred relationship, one that restores the holy union between us and the planet. May we find our ambition to seek this out. So please, hug your search committee. Don't ask them about the interviews. That's not appropriate. But hug them, right? Because the next couple of months are tough. They have an enormous task of trying to find the minister that has what it takes to lead a community. It's not easy. But my hope for you is that you find someone that helps you feel ambitious about who you can become. May your best days not be behind you. May your best days be ahead of you. May this be your mission. Amen.
Let's close by singing hymn number 1057 in the Teal hymn books. 1057.
We'll do it twice.
I'll play through one.
Play it through once and then we'll sing it twice.
Source of life, God, my darling, inspire us to lean into the ambition, calling us to be a beacon in this world, to bring light into this world, to be the healers and the storytellers of the awe and the praise and the glory and the gratitude of what this life really is. Awaken in us that great universalist message of the shared destiny, of the interwoven reality, the bond that is beyond bond, the space beyond name and fence and separation and fabrication, the place where we just exist in presence, unified. And fill us with grace so that we might find the courage to embrace this great spiritual journey, the greatest adventure of our lives, the one where we go out and tell the world it is a blessing. Amen. Go in peace. Thank you, David. Thank you, Tristan. Hello, Ogden. Thank you for being with us. Monica and Beck, our ushers, and most importantly, our coffee makers. Please join us for coffee right outside these doors. You'll also see, if you're new here, there's a welcome table. We'd love to have you sign up. We'll find out more about you. Come say hi.